What up, what up, what up, what up? It's KarlASMR in the building. Today, I'm doing another good night to everyone except. Now, if you don't know what this is, again, if you've ever been on TikTok, pre-ban, if it's still getting banned, if you've ever been on TikTok and you've seen like a dude with a computer with a slideshow talking about you get a good night if, or good night specific edition and stuff like that. So if I do mention this, anything on this list, if I mention it, you get a good night. And if I don't, fuck you, nigga. No, I'm just playing. But you don't get a good night. So, let's get straight into it. I hope y'all doing all right. If y'all don't know, I've been thinking of doing an echo video from Arcane. Y'all probably saw it in the community tab. And I made the Miles Morales Earth 42 version roleplay available again. It was only for members, but now anybody and everyone can watch it. So if you're watching this right now, go to my playlist on my channel, click roleplays playlist, and you can go watch the Spider-Verse ASMR video. Now, alright, so first up, random addition. This is gonna be interesting. So, I said something that I just realized. I said good night to everyone except, meaning that if I mention these, you don't get a good night. So we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna do it the real way. If I mention any of these on the list, you don't get a good night. Good night to everyone except random addition. You ate any hot chips yesterday, you don't get no good night, nigga. No. Bad night. Sleep loose. I hope the bed bugs bite your caboose. Number 2, your favorite song is Turn It Off by Paramore. You don't get a good night. Number 3, if your favorite character from Squid Games is 067 Sabayok, you don't get a good night if that's your favorite character. Or even one of your favorites. Next up, you don't get a good night if you went to high school with a relative. Yeah, I'm cooking a lot of y'all. Y'all ain't getting no good nights. Next up, you get a good night. Or no, you don't get a good night if the last song you heard was a Spanish song. No English lyrics. Spanish song. Okay? Next up, you don't get a good night if your favorite Spider-Man is Spider-Punk or Penny Parker. You don't get a good night. You don't. Fuck. Next up, you don't get a good night if you've beaten a Rubik's Cube in the year of 2025. So if you played with a Rubik's Cube and you beat it, you don't get no good night. Next up, you don't get a good night if Silver the Hedgehog is your favorite hedgehog from the Sonic verse. If I said Shadow, I know a lot of y'all would have been out. Because I like Shadow too, but I don't get a good night already on some of these. You know what I'm saying? I lost a long time ago, so I don't get a good night. So don't worry, you with me. Next up, you don't get a good night if Yasuo or Yone is your favorite League of Legends champion. So I damn sure don't get no good night. Next up, you don't get a good night if you got some new headphones for Christmas. Not earphones. Headphones. You don't get no good night. Alright, we on to the next edition. Make sure you put the timestamps below. I really appreciate the people who do that. You are very amazing. Every time I look at music, compilation vids, or video with multiple music or whatever it is, someone always has the timestamps below, and it's never the creator who does it. I know I don't do it either. I'm sorry. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all be putting in work. I really do appreciate it. Next up, anime characters edition. I'm about to cook y'all. Y'all don't know. I know some. Just look. You don't get a good night if your favorite character is Annie from Attack on Titan. Or Hanj. You don't get a good night if Shinichi from Parasite is your favorite character. Meaning the main character from Parasite. You don't get a good night if Nagi or Bachira from Blue Lock is your favorite character. And it also counts for these shows. If it's just specific to the show, you still don't get no good night. You not slick. If it's your favorite all-time character or favorite in the show, you don't get no good night. Yeah, I said it. Next, if Ayato Kirishima from Tokyo Ghoul, Toka's older brother, is your favorite character, you don't get a good night. It's tough. If Nier from Death Note is your favorite character, you don't get a good night. Next up, if Rock Lee from Naruto is your favorite anime character, you don't get no good night. You might as well just go sleep on a pile of bricks because you're cooked. You know what I'm saying? You might as well just serve yourself up on a hot, steamy platter because you're chopped. Like chopped cheese from New York. Next up, if Agent Twilight from Spy Family is your favorite anime character, the dad, you don't get no good night. You don't. Next up, if Hisoka or Leorio from Hunter x Hunter is your favorite character in anime, you don't get no good night. You don't. Now next up, if Gray or Gajeel from Fairy Tail is your favorite character, you don't get no good night. And is anyone right here watching Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest? It's absolutely fire. It's fire. That nigga with the Dragon Slayer with the sword, that is fire. He cooks. The dragon's tough. You saw when Natsu's actual brother pulled up his you know what I'm saying? What's his name? Ignia. That nigga is so tough, my nigga. He's so tough. And he gave him some of his fire to Natsu, and he went crazy. I can't wait till they bang out. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, y'all watching Dr. Stone? They came back. Dr. Stone came back. Same with Solo Leveling. Okay, now 2 more on the list. If Senku from Dr. Stone is your favorite character, you don't get a good night. If Future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z is your favorite, you don't get a good night. In fact, we're going to add just one more. If Thorfinn KarlASMR from Vinland Saga is your favorite character, you don't get a good night. Now we got School Edition. I know I'm going to cook a lot of y'all. We got School Edition. So y'all listen up, okay? Y'all pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Because I know more than half of y'all have got at least one thing on here. And you're going to be cooked. Alright? Now, everyone gets a good night except School Edition. You don't get no good night if you ever got caught cheating on a test. I know you be trying to do it, and then when teacher look at you, we know you're not looking for nothing. Why? All of a sudden, the classroom is interesting that you've been in for 180 days of the year. All of a sudden, during the test, now you're looking at the whiteboard like you wasn't on your phone when he was giving that lecture. And now you got caught cheating on the test. It's tough. Next up, you don't get no good night if a teacher read a note you passed to a friend in class out loud. So if you tried to pass something to a friend or a crush or whomever, even if it was someone else's note that passed to you that you were supposed to pass to someone else, if it came from your hand to the teachers and they read it out loud, you don't get no good night. Now, next up, you don't get a good night if you failed every test in a single day from each class, and that means a D or lower. A D or lower. From every single elective, every single class, you don't get a good night. And I know some of y'all, because a lot of y'all don't study no more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I never really studied much, but, I just knew the material. I don't know how, but I passed, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I did good in school. I was a little nerd, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, next up, if you ever were voted the best this or the most that or the funniest this in the school yearbook at the end of the year, you don't get a good night. So all little popular kids or whatever, you don't get no good night, nigga. You don't. Next up, if you go or went ever to a private school, you don't get a good night. And don't worry, homeschooling isn't the same. I know it's private because it's at home, but you know what I mean. A private school, uniforms and all. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay to get into some shit. Then you don't get no good night. I'm sorry. Next, if you are an avid student, you know what an avid kid is, right? What a kid in avid is, right? Yeah, you don't get no good night. Y'all the niggas who always was asking the teacher if they had homework at the end of the class period. Teacher forgot what's going on in the speech about their personal life, and you raised your hand right when that bell rang. We got any homework? I said, you said you was going. Shut the hell up. What's wrong with you, buddy? Anyways, it's bringing back memories. I almost had good days sometimes, but that one little nigga messed it up. Anyways, next up, you don't get a good night if you got sent to detention after school more than 3 times. So it's not just 3, it's more than 3. So 4 or more. If you got sent to the detention 4 or more times after school, you don't get a good night. Even if it was some bullshit. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I had to go to school detention like 5 times, nigga. And it was all because of uniform. Cause of school uniform. It's like, it's either you come to school with uniform or you don't come to school at all. Or if you come without uniform, anything that the school says is a policy. It could be colors, clothing, it could be chains, it could be shoes, whatever it is that they just say they don't want you to wear, right? And you wear it, you gonna get detention. But man, I had to drip out, man. I had to, my baby. I had to drip out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? I just can't. Yeah, look. Hey, I was one of those kids in school who, when Beats, how Beats by Dre, when that shit was popular, I had damn near all the beats. I would be the kid walking around like this at school. Just walking with my Beats playing and shit, you know what I'm saying? Every day, I didn't miss a day without my music. I need my music. It's never earphones. I straight up had Beats, man, the big ass shit, man. But, yeah. Next up, if you were or are the fastest sprinter/runner in your school, it can be elementary school, middle school, high school, college. If you just the fastest, you don't get a good night. Yeah, you don't get a good night. No allows. Anyways, next up, if you are right now on the school honor roll, you don't get no good night. I don't care. Good job, getting all A's. You don't get no good night from Carl's. Next up, this one specifically goes for me, so I know I don't get no good night, but that's all right, because I sleep in the daytime anyways. Good day. Good day. To me. Because I sleep in the daytime. It's what time is it right now? It's 3:02 a.m. Next up. This is the last for the school edition. If you never use the school bathroom ever, let's just say in high school, okay? In high school, if you have never used a school bathroom, even up to this day, even if you're still in high school but you still haven't touched it yet, you don't get no good night. Go to that school. Go to that bathroom. You don't get no good night. Now, the last edition Drum roll, please. ASMR edition. If your favorite sounds are fabric sounds, you don't get no good night. Good night to everyone except people who like fabric sounds. That's as their favorite. If you hate glass tapping or glass sounds, I got news for you, buddy. But you're gonna sleep loose tonight, and you're gonna have the bed bugs bite. Next up, if you started watching ASMR 1 year ago, you do not get a good night. You're late to the train, buddy. You're late to the party. That's your fault. Next. If I'm the first channel you ever subscribe to, you do get a good night. It was on the list, but I didn't realize what I was saying. But if I'm the first one, then you gotta get a good night. So, hey, look, if I'm the first ASMR channel you ever sub to, good night, buddy. I hope you sleep very tight. No bed bugs bite. And you get sweet dreams. You're laying on fluffy clouds, eating cotton candy with your feet up, watching your favorite movie during your sleep with chicken nuggets. That's all if you sub to me first. Next up. If my favorite video of yours is the Brain Rot or Riz Academy video, consider yourself cooked, because you don't get a good night with this one. I got better videos. Stop asking me to do Riz Academy Part 2. You know what I'm saying? I'm on to new things. You know, I gotta move up with the trends. We ain't using Riz that much no more. Or Skibbity. You know what I'm saying? Next up. If your favorite ASMR creator has less than 200k subs, you don't get no good night. I'm sorry. And I know some homies too that got their little chest. I'm sorry. But you don't get no good night. Next up. If you make ASMR videos on TikTok or YouTube, you don't get no good night. I'm going to repeat what I just said because I think that went over a lot of y'all heads. If you make ASMR videos on TikTok or YouTube, you don't get a good night. So all my peers, all my ASMR peers, you're cooked. You're cooked. I hope someone draws with Sharpie on your face when you sleep tonight. You don't get no good night because you make ASMR videos. You with me. We are not getting no good night. I'm dragging y'all down with me. Y'all thought it was just me? No. Y'all are with me. Alright. Next up. If you hate paper sounds for triggers, you don't get a good night. Because you know I'm about that paper. You know what I'm saying? You know I'm about that money spread. You know I'm about that paper. We have 2 more. And we're going to end the video. If your favorite types of videos are cosplay or roleplay videos, so all the people who want that echo video, if that's your favorite style, you're chopped. You don't get a good night. Buddy, you ain't sleeping good tonight. Last but not least, actually this is going to be the opposite, because y'all are OGs. If you have ever watched a live stream of mine, you do get a good night. And y'all didn't know? Y'all didn't know? For all the new people, y'all didn't know Karl had live streams? Yeah. I went live a long time ago when I first started this channel. I went live damn near every other few days. I was just on live talking to y'all. And then not too long ago, when I hit, I think 200k or 300k, it was one of the two. I went live for like one time. And the reason, if y'all want to know the real reason why I haven't went live yet again, is because my camera, let me show you. My camera is dog cheeks. That shit is ass, nigga. I'm like 380 HP. You know what I'm saying? Look, it says HD 180. No. this is boof. It's actually dog trash. So, literally, Widdle-witty, I'm just trying to get a new camera to do live streams. So like, I have a Twitch account. If y'all don't know, it's just Carlson or King Carlson. Y'all know how to spell it. It's like my Instagram handle. Pretty much almost everything's like my Instagram handle. But yeah, I want to do videos, gameplay. I want to stream. I want to live stream, but it's kind of difficult for me because I'm an introvert, meaning I ain't got shit to talk about. So like, if I live stream, I'm one of those people who reads the chat. Like, I read damn near everything I can read on that, you know, if it's obviously within, you know, cool ground rules, if y'all chill. And I talk to y'all. I'm just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking to y'all. Cause I ain't got nothing else to do. You know, I don't know how these streamers be like setting up stuff or just have stuff to talk about. Nigga, this is what I do in my spare time, you know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I just be watching my shows, you know? Now, yeah, so you get a good night if you've been in any of my live streams. In fact, last but not least, I will give you a good night if you laughed really hard today. Because that's a feeling we all trying to chase, right? The pure joy. I believe the most pure joy any person can have in life is when they laugh hard. That's the most pure joy. Because you just, you know, you just going, you laughing. You just smiling because you're laughing. You immediately end up smiling. Then you feel good. Then you just, you know what I'm saying? You get exhausted from laughing. You tears of joy. It's all the happy emotions. So if you laugh really hard today, you get a good night. And I hope you do sleep tight. But I'm still saying the bed bug's gonna bite. Look, it's Hater Carlson in the building. I'm hating today. Ain't no one getting no good nights like that. Straight up. It's gonna be a caveat with something. Now, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your nights, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you haven't seen it, go watch my Roblox video. Straight comedy. I love making Roblox videos. I used to make them a long time ago, but I'm not no gaming channel, so I don't really do games here. I might do like more of that content on my gaming channel, Kill Switch Carl, and I'm gonna be playing my Marvel Rivals on there. My favorite character is Moon Knight, and I like Rocket Raccoon too. So let me know your favorite characters of Marvel's Rivals down below. In fact, let me do a quick little Marvel's Rivals. You get a good night. You don't get no good night if Scarlet Witch, the black and white motherfucker, what's their name? The healers that turn to a nigga and turn to a white girl. That one, the healer. I don't remember their name. You don't get no good night. You don't get a good night if you main Hawkeye. You for sure damn don't get no good night if you main Namor. Hate that name. Or Spider-Man. She's always swinging across that goddamn map and kicking me in the motherfucking chest for no reason. And then Iron Man. I hate Iron Man. Y'all don't do nothing but stay up in the sky 50 meters away and get tracked down by Hulk every time. Every time. So yeah, you don't get a good night. Enjoy the video. Make sure y'all stay safe. Make sure y'all drinking y'all water. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, most importantly. You ain't gotta rely on anyone else to, you know, to be okay. All right. Make sure you learn and you stay to yourself, and make sure you realize that you will always have yourself at the end of the day. So don't take no one's bullshit. Is what I'm saying. You the motherfucking person. Fist bump. All right. I'll see y'all.